Oof. Sorry. Good. Hello everyone, I am Claire, and today we're gonna back to the boring table. My dad says so. So anyway, let's get on with these books. I got two books. One is The Tale of Jemima Puddle-Duck. One is the story of the fierce bad rabbit. Good. Let's go and read the short one first, because can you see how thick they are? One is thin and one is thick. Good. Let's read the story of a fierce bad rabbit. Please ignore my mama. This is a fierce bad rabbit. Look at his savage whiskers and his claws and his turned-up tail. This is a nice, gentle rabbit. His mother has given him a carrot. Aww. The bad rabbit would like some carrot. He doesn't say please. He takes it. And he scratched the good rabbit very badly. The good rabbit creeps away and hidden in a hole. It feels sad. This is a man with a gun. He sees something sitting on a bench. He thinks it a very funny bird. He comes creeping up behind the trees, and he shoots. Bang! And this is what's happened. But this is all he finds on the bench. He rushes out with his gun, and he finds a fluffy tail and some whiskers and a has-been-chewed carrot. The good rabbit peeps out of its hole, and it sees the bad rabbit tearing past without any tail or whiskers. The end. And I got this thing that you really need to remember from this book. When you're bad, you're gonna get. When you're good and you help everyone, they're gonna pay back good things to you. And if you're bad and then you doesn't give anything, like you saw a good man needs food or needs help or something, he doesn't help it, and then when someone helps him, then you see he's really, really good and rich, kind of like it, and then sometime you needs help, and that man you didn't help him comes, and he doesn't help you either. That's for the payback when you were bad. And from this book, it's really quite funny. So let's get on to our book. The main book. Its name is The Tale of Jemima Puddle-Duck. The Tale of the Jemima Puddle-Duck. What a funny sight it is to see a brood of ducklings with a hen. Listen to the story of Jemima Puddle-Duck, who was annoyed because the farmer's wife would not let her hatch her own eggs. Rude. Her sister-in-law, Mistress Rebecca Puddle-Duck, was perfectly willing to leave the hatching to someone else. I have not the patience to sit on the nest for 28 days. And And more have you, Jemima. You would let them go cold. You know you would. I wish to hatch my own eggs. I will hatch them all by myself, quacked Jemima Puddle-Duck. She tried to hide her eggs, but were always found and carried off. Jemima Puddle-Duck became quite desperate. She determined to take a nest right away from the farm. She set off a fine spring afternoon along the cart road that leads over the hill. She was wearing a shawl and a poke bonnet. When she reached the top of a hill, she saw a wood in a distance. She thought that it looked a quite safe spot. Jemima Puddle-Duck was not much a habit of flying. She ran downhill a few yards, flapping her shawl, and then she jumped off into the air. She flew beautifully when she got a good start. She skimmed along over the tree tops until she saw an open place in the middle of the wood, where the trees and brushwood had been cleared. Jemima alighted rather heavily and began to waddle about in search of a convenient, dry nestling place. She rather fancied a tree stump amongst some tall foxgloves. But seated upon the stump, she was startled to find an elegantly dressed gentleman reading a newspaper. He had black prick ears and sandy-colored whiskers. "Quack?" said Jemima Puddle-Duck, with her head leaved and her bonnet on one side. "Quack?" The gentleman raised his eyes above his newspaper and looked curiously at Jemima. "Madame, have you lost your way?" said he. He had a long bushy tail which he was sitting upon, and the stump was somewhat damp. Jemima thought him mighty civil and handsome. She explained that she had not lost her way, but that she was trying to find a convenient dry nestling place. "Ah, is that so? Indeed," said the gentleman with the sandy whiskers, looking curiously at Jemima. He folded up his newspaper and put it in his coat-tail pocket. Jemima complained of a superfluous hen. "Indeed, how interesting! I wish I could meet with that foal. I could teach it to mind its own business." "But as to a nest, there is no difficulty. I have a sackful of feathers in my woodshed." "No, my dear madam, you will be in nobody's way. You may sit there as long as you like," said the bushy long-tailed gentleman. He led the way into a retired, dismal-looking house among the foxgloves. It was built of fagots and turf, and were two broken pails on top of another by way of a chimney. "This is a summer residence. You would not find my winter house so convincing," said the hospitable gentleman. "There's a tumble-down shed at the back of the house, made of old soap boxes." The gentleman opened the door and showed Jemima in. The shed was almost quite full of feathers. It was almost suffocating, but it was comfortable and very soft. Jemima Puddle-Duck was rather surprised to find such a vast quantity of feathers, but it was very comfortable, and she made a nest without any trouble at all. When she came out, the sandy-whiskered gentleman was sitting on a log reading the newspaper. At least he had it spread out, but he was looking over top of it. He was so polite. He seemed almost sorry to let Jemima go home for a night. He promised to take great care of her nest until she came back again the next day. She said he loved eggs and ducklings. He should be proud to see a fine nestful in his woodshed. I think he quite a bicycle. Jemima Puddle-Duck came every afternoon. She laid 9 eggs in the nest, very greeny white and very large. The foxy gentleman admired them immensely. He used to turn them over and count them when Jemima was not there. At last, Jemima told him that she intended to begin to sit the next day. And I will bring a bag of corn with me, so that I need never leave my nest until the eggs or hatch it. They might catch cold, said the conscientious Jemima. Madame, I beg you not to trouble yourself with a bag, and I will provide oats. But before you commence your tedious sitting, I intend to give you a treat. Let us have a dinner party all to ourselves. May I ask you from picking up some herbs from the farm garden to make savory omelette, sag and thyme and mint and 2 onions and some parsley. I'll provide lard for the stuff. Lard for the omelette, said the hospitable gentleman with sandy whiskers. Jemima Puddle-Duck was a simpleton. Not even a mention of sage and onions made her suspicious. She went round the farm garden nibbling off snippets of the different sorts of herbs that are used for stuffing roast duck. And she waddled in the kitchen and got 2 onions out of a basket. The collie dog Cap met her coming out. What are you doing with those onions? Where you go every afternoon by yourself, Jemima Puddle-Duck? Jemima was rather in awe of the collie. She told him the whole story. The collie listened with his wise head on one side. He grinned when he described the polite gentleman with sandy whiskers. He asked several questions about the wood and about the exact position of the house and shed. When he went out, he trotted down the village. He went to look for 2 foxhound puppies who were at walk with a butcher. Jemima Puddle-Duck went up a cart road for the last time on a sunny afternoon. She was rather burned with bunches of herbs and 2 onions in a bag. She flew over the wood and alighted opposite the house of a bushy long-tailed gentleman. He was sitting on a log. He sniffed the air and kept glancing uneasily round the wood. When Jemima alighted, he quite jumped. Come into the house as soon as you have looked at your eggs. Give me the herb for the omelette. Be sharp. He was rather a bird. Jemima Puddle-Duck had never heard him speak like that. She felt surprised and uncomfortable. While she was inside, she heard pattering feet around the back of a shed. Someone with a black nose sniffed at the bottom of the door and then locked it. Jemima became much alarmed. A moment afterward there were most awful noises, barking, baying, growls and howls, squealing and groans, and nothing more than ever seen that foxy whiskered gentleman. Presently, Cap opened the door of a shed and let out Jemima Puddle-Duck. Unfortunately, the puppy rushed in and gobbled up all the eggs before he could stop them. He had one bite on his ear, and both the puppies were limping. Jemima Puddle-Duck was escorted home in tears on account of those eggs. She laid some more in June, and she was permitted to keep them herself, but only 4 of them hatched. Jemima Puddle-Duck said it was because of her nerves, but she has always been a bad sitter. The end. So, it's all, guys. And have got a really good day today. Oof, what's wrong with this? Bye-bye, everyone. Please leave me a like and subscribe, okay? Bye-bye.